Yes, guys, we're back. Nuclear Reaction Faction. We're reacting to the rest of the Bronies video by Turkey Tom. If you don't know, a Brony is like an adult male who's into My Little Pony, and some of them in more than a platonic way. Let's put it that way. But yeah, let's get it.
Reader trying to make it in the Brony analysis community named Performance Major, who did take Toon's side, but unsurprisingly, while defending him, also admitted to doing erotic roleplay with anyone, including minors.
Oh no.
I roleplay with just about anyone who's willing.
What? Oh my word, can you hear how he's talking and he's breathing? He sounds like a creep, man. What the hell? This is creepy as hell.
And sometimes, if the minor is mature enough, I'll roleplay with them too.
No.
But here's the fucking thing. It's role play.
No,
It doesn't mean anything.
It's
Other brilliant quotes from Mr. Major include, "He's only breaking the law because he is above 18, and she's just as guilty." Zach would try to crawl back online a few times over the years under new aliases, seemingly unable to keep himself away from the allure of the Brony fandom and new potential victims. One of these attempts was in 2019 under the name Mucha Lucha, in which he tried to get involved with the Pokemon community, which is also ripe with minors for grooming. That same year, in 2019, he gave a short interview to the creator for no good reason, wherein he claimed to be seeing a psychiatrist. But in 2020, he popped up again under the name Abri72 or Zephyr the Indie Dog.
There's no really treating like nonces, mate. Like I don't want to say the word and get the video demonetized. There's no rehabilitating them. There's no drug that's going to stop him from being a nonce. There's no flipping therapy that's going to stop him. There might be therapy that helps him manage it, but like ultimately, like they're right down to their core, they're evil, and like there's no changing that, man.
That same year, in 2019, he gave a short interview to the creator for no good reason, wherein he claimed to be seeing a psychiatrist. But in 2020, he popped up again under the name Abri72 or Zephyr the Indie Doggo. A lot of Twitch VODs are still up from this era of Zach's online life, where you can clearly tell it's him. This comeback attempt would also be picked up by commentators, given
that's bad because my my Twitter handle is bite-sized doggo, so like I hate that. I might change that.
But
now.
in 2020, he popped up again under the name Abri72 or Zephyr the Indie Doggo. A lot of Twitch VODs are still up from this era of Zach's online life, where you can clearly tell it's him. This comeback attempt would also be picked up by commentators, given that the original ordeal drew hundreds of thousands of eyes across various videos. The Abri's Twitter account will be deactivated after people realized the account owner was none other than Zach. The Twitch account still remains, although it's been inactive for 2 years. As to where Zach is nowadays, I have no idea, but it is a little irritating that the answer to that question isn't a definitive behind bars, and there's nothing anyone can do about it.
How is he not? I don't understand.
Bronies had a thriving content creation scene back between 2011 to 2014, with one very popular creator being Mando Pony, or Andy Stein, who created mainly rock music, thematically centered around the show and the fandom. While his Brony music wouldn't reach the level of popularity as creators like the Living Tombstones music did, his popularity in the Brony community was nothing to write off. He started off with chiptune music themed around the show, a genre of music which emulates the style of old video game music that was made with the 8 and 16-bit sound chips. It's later on that he would create his popular rock songs, the most notable one being Loyalty, which has 2 million views. Give me a dash of loyalty. Let this be a lesson about being careful with passing your homies the aux cord because they might play My Little Pony Rock. Unlike a lot of Brony creators, who just got popular doing pony content and then faded into obscurity, Mando Pony's career would actually peak outside of the Brony space. When the video game franchise Five Nights at Freddy's took off, he would be sure to capitalize on it, and it paid off, because his song Survive the Night has been played over 40 million times on YouTube. He would also find some decent success by crossing over into other fandoms, although he had clearly peaked and would probably never never hit that level of success ever again, because that's just how being a creator goes sometimes. You would think he would rest on his laurels and silently fade into obscurity, but he did not get the privilege of having a peaceful end and being remembered fondly. In July 2020, a Twitter account called Exposing Andy Stein was created. This account started making threads containing screenshots showcasing Andy sexting minors on Snapchat. To make matters worse, he was also married while he was doing this, so according to the allegations, not only was he a predator, but an adulterous one at that. Unfortunately, a lot of this information was not well archived. This Twitter account appears to have once contained all of the allegations and evidence against Andy, but it no longer exists. The most important pieces of information are still out there though, able to be dug up. The main victim that was highlighted by the account, age 17, had definitive proof the messages were from Andy, because, well, they had nude pictures of him. The allegations about him sexting the 17-year-old girl would be the most widely spread, since he sent messages that would suggest he knew her age and that he thought what he was doing was wrong. He said, "I've been meaning to say, yeah, thank you for keeping all of this private. It's probably wrong of me to be attracted to you, but I can't help it."
Can't even listen to it, mate, because it's like he's grooming her, like, and it feels like it's invading my brain, and he's grooming me or some flipping ish. Don't like it, mate.
Things would only get worse for Andy from here, though, because others started claiming to have had inappropriate conversations with him on Snapchat. One claiming to be as young as 14. On Twitter, she made the following statement. "This was the Snapchat that Andy Stein gave me, and the account he used to send Andy actually liked one of their tweets. They also scared and a lot, claiming to be as young as 14.
I said in another video, there's a female judge in the UK who was quoted as saying she thinks the age of consent should be lowered from 16 to 13. Yeah, I think it should be raised to at least 18. Like, I don't know, it's complicated, like, because obviously, like, a 17-year-old could be going out with an 18-year-old, and there's nothing wrong with that, but it's technically illegal. So I know it's complicated, the whole, like, the way it works, but the laws need to change, because 16 is too young. Like, you can't even drink alcohol until you're 21 in America, but you can consent to sex. I don't understand. Like, there needs to be like they need to meet each other in the middle or something. Like, and our prime minister is quoted as saying that girls under the age of 16 can consent. Yeah, and he also said that not all predators should go to jail. Yeah, that's who's running our country. Yeah, and like, it's as if our country isn't messed up enough as it is. Yeah, we've got institutional SA, like organized SA stuff going on, like the BBC. Like, I had a YouTube channel that got 44,000 subs. It's a Christian conspiracy theory channel, and it was dealing with nonces in Hollywood and the royal family. Like, I was talking about Prince Andrew and Jeffrey Epstein before it was mainstream news. Not like before it came out. It had already come out, but it had like sort of been hushed up. But like, yeah, I got demonetized because of it. And then my channel went on to get 10 million views, so I would have got loads of money. But like, no, that channel was about exposing the truth, and I made it like not with the intention of making money. I made it for passion. But yeah, no, like all these I might have to stop reacting to Tom's videos because it's really flipping depressing.
On Twitter, she made the following statement. "This was the Snapchat that Andy Stein gave me, and the account he used to send nudes on. I was 14, homeless, scared, and lost, and you took advantage of you being my idol, telling me not to tell anyone. Going through this person's Twitter, you can see they were a fan of Andy, and Andy actually liked one of their tweets. They also provide screenshots of DMs between them and Andy, although there appears to be no proof of any sexual conversation, as they claim it was all deleted. A TikTok was made where user Emily Really Likes Cows shows old conversations she had with him when she was 13, claiming he was the one reaching out to her a lot, but in her case, nothing sexual seemed to have happened either. There's also a screenshot on Snapchat.
It's still inappropriate, don't you think? Like, I think that's still way inappropriate.
Of him supposedly calling a 13-year-old cute, and some allegations of him flirting with a 15-year-old on Instagram, including him drawing lewd artwork of them, and a collaborator of his he wants to battle. The Exposing Andy Stein Twitter account posted some of Andy's art, 3 of them including the 15-year-old victim. The last image includes him, the girl, and Nathan Sharp as furries on stage with Nate, daring the girl to kiss him. And no, Nate did not consent to this drawing. Nate,
What?
who Andy had previously toured with, would silently remove songs I did together from his channel during this time. But these allegations did not spread nearly as far as the Toon Critic Y2K ones, and this could be due to a few factors, such as the fact that, although the other alleged victims were much younger, the main accuser was 17. Another reason this case might not have blown up like Toon's was because Andy didn't respond for about a year, and instead, silently locked down all of his social media accounts. Around this time, he also disabled comments and likes or dislikes on all of his videos, and the last tweet he made before he was exposed was foreboding. After speaking with my therapist, psychiatrist, and more, I am stepping away from social media and any spotlight. I am not well. I am seeking help. My family and friends are supporting me. Until I am healthy, I wish you all peace and joy. Thank you. Andy would remain quiet until March 9th, 2021, when he would go on Twitter to post a statement from himself and his legal team. In this statement, he claims he was investigated by the Internet Crimes Against Children Task Force in coordination with the LAPD. Their months-long investigation apparently turned up nothing, and they found no evidence of any crime. Thus, he said the allegations were false, but that he would still be stepping away regardless. He stated, "I do now understand, however, that some of my fan interaction may have been insensitive or too personal, and that some of my comments made others feel in ways I never intended. I am ashamed and extremely regretful to have put my family and those I love in the position to question my integrity. I do not deny I failed my wife, my family, my friends, and my supporters, but I am not a criminal." It's unclear what exactly happened here, since Andy was definitely sexting.
You're not a criminal, but you're a groomer, dude. Like, seriously. Oh, come on. What's going on?
Someone, but without the details of the investigation, we may never truly know. A few months later, in October of that year, he would release a new song called Trick or Treatin'.
By the way, when I called him a groomer, I mean allegedly, like, in my opinion, I think he's a groomer. Like, just based off, like, I think it's, like, inappropriate, really, to be, like, he called, oh, I don't know, like, because, like, cute implies, like, so you can say that someone underage is beautiful or pretty, I think, yeah, like as a dad or a parent, you can sort of say that kid is beautiful, but cute in the context of him, like, I don't know, talking over the internet to this lass, getting to know her intimately and calling her cute. That is just, it's like screaming, surely.
Comments are still turned off, and it didn't even crack 100,000 views. In July of 2022, he would release a cover of Come On Out from Disney's Zombies 3, which performed even worse than the previous
Sorry guys,
song.
that go on about that stuff, yeah, it just really hits me hard, because I didn't get proper, like, assaulted when I was younger, but I did get, something happened to me. On a scale of 1 to 10 out of SA, it is like a 1 or a 2, but it was one of my earliest memories, and I know people who have been, like, severely abused, like, way more than that. And sorry, pardon me, I've been drinking my own cider that I make, strawberry cider. And it's just like an issue that I really take to heart. So 1, something happened to me. 2, I've got friends who it's all happened to, and 3, I've got my daughter. So, like, it's it just really, really riles me out.
August 22nd, 2022, Mando Pony would respond again to the allegations. In a new post, he claimed a second investigation was confirmed and that they found nothing. He ended his response by asking people to not believe everything they read online. At the time,
the thing is just because they found nothing doesn't mean he didn't have something, because with modern encryption tools, like, anyone can get away with anything, man. Like, if you know what you're doing, you could get away with drug. I don't want to get this video demonetized. Like, human trap. Oh, to see again, I don't want to get it, like, demonetized. So, like, human T'ing, drug D'ing, CPing, arms D'ing. Like, what the hell? Like, you can get away with it. So just because he didn't get caught with anything doesn't necessarily mean that he didn't have anything. Do you get me?
writing this, Andy is still active online, but his Instagram is still private, and he's largely inactive on Twitter. Will he make a full-fledged comeback? Will his reputation recover? For now, no one knows for sure. Every April Fool's Day, 4chan does something special. In 2021, they added a rake icon to posts so that you could report someone just for being a leaf, also known as being Canadian. Some of their April Fool's gags have been site redesigns, like in 2016 when they overhauled the UI to look like Google+. But in 2017, they pulled off a particularly entertaining and strange gag. That is, an experiment to merge two of the most prominent boards into one. Various proposals were dreamt up, but the most intriguing was ML Poll, combining /MLP and /Poll, the politically incorrect board, which definitely does its name justice, as its options for flags you can post under include black nationalist, fascist, and of course the swastika. No one in their right mind would expect this to go smoothly, and that was probably the point. You could safely assume that bronies would tend to be progressive, given their eccentric tastes. And you would also expect the anons on /Poll to staunchly reject the sexually liberated, furry, and LGBT pastimes of the bronies. There were some other even more catastrophic implications of the merge though. You see, 4chan divides boards into safe for work and not safe for work categories, dictating whether adult material is allowed on the board. /Poll falls in the not safe for work category, but /MLP doesn't, by some miracle, though it probably should. Usually, explicit material isn't allowed on there, but with the two boards coming
Sorry guys, I'm tired, man. After this video, I'm going to bed.
together, it meant that the bronies with more salacious interests would no longer have to hold back, and as such, the floodgates were opened. This was 2017, the year that Trump entered the presidency, and the same year of He Will Not Divide Us. Poll was getting an amount of online traction it had never seen, and hasn't since. This meant that you had droves of conservatives going to Poll for their daily intake of political info, being met with Twilight Sparkle Rule 34 in every post of every page. Once the pony porn posting died down though, the unexpected happened. These neckbeards, despite their vastly different locations, started finding common ground. OP, who would Hitler's favorite brony be? Reply, probably Pinky because he was fond of confections and would have admired her positive attitude. Maybe these pony weirdos aren't as bad as Democrats at least. I want this to continue forever. Someone even posted a comic of Twilight Sparkle forgiving Hitler. It reads, sure, he made the wrong choice, but he made it for the right reasons. He was trying to help his friends. We've all done something silly for a friend, right? Gotta say, this is the first time I've heard someone describe the Holocaust as silly. And of course, plenty of people took the occasion to post Ariane, a National Socialist pony character.
Ariane. That's so on the nose. If you don't know what like the references, it's like to Aryan, like because they call the white supremacists call themselves the Aryan race, or some of them do anyway. So that's hilarious. She's called Aryan.
A heart with a swastika in it, whose name is a nod to the word Aryan. You know, sometimes you've been online for long enough and you think you've seen it all. And every once in a while you're reminded, no, you never will. It dawned on the Poltards and bronies alike that the magic spell uniting them would wear off once the clock struck midnight. This was only supposed to be a one-time thing as an April Fool's gag. But they weren't having it. They attempted, in vain, to make the board an official staple of 4chan. Someone even created a declaration of independence for the board called the Policies of Polestria, a portmanteau of Pol and Equestria, the mythical land of ponies, including rules like no race mixing. But their efforts were in vain, because even a site like 4chan wasn't actually willing to host this schizophrenic Frankenstein's monster of a subculture beyond the scope of a mere April Fool's joke. As a result, Anons flooded other boards to complain about what had been taken from them. I'm so upset right now. They took away the one board that actually drove away the Redditors and shills. It was going to be a glorious place where we could actually talk about politics without autistically screeching and shitposting. I saw multiple threads where people were actually giving their honest opinions on the state of the world. You know, talking about real politics. Having actual quality debates. No bait, no trolling, not even any real animosity, even to differing beliefs. Just civil discussion. It was glorious. And now, it's gone. For the first time in years, we could have real political discussions on the hidden board without all the garbage. We all loved ML Poll and didn't want it to get deleted. You can't just give us a taste of heaven only to rip it away from us like that. Real OC was being pumped out left and right. We were all having tons of fun. It was like the old days again. And you're just going to do us like that? This is the internet's version of the Christmas truce in World War I, where soldiers on both sides unofficially ceased fire and played soccer. You could make a TED Talk about how heartwarming the whole event was, as it truly proved that people can come together against all odds, just as long as they are equally deranged to some capacity. What's particularly surprising is that right-wing bronies already existed prior to this event, perhaps the most infamous example being My Nationalist Pony, a Tumblr blog which was started by Buttercup Dew within a few years of the show's launch, the writings from which were eventually published as a book. The description of the book reads, "The cartoon series My Little Pony is beloved of little girls and grown men alike. In My Nationalist Pony, Brony blogger Buttercup Dew gives a new rightist reading to My Little Pony, arguing that in addition to its wholesome stories of friendship and self-acceptance, the series is implicitly Eurocentric, pagan, and deeply conservative. The premise is that the world of My Little Pony is an idyllic utopia because the ponies are racially homogenous and resist the influence of foreign cultures, remaining genetically superior." I don't really. What am I supposed to say about this? Okay, what am I supposed to say? Without purchasing the book, I'm unable to access his fascinating hypotheses. However, he was interviewed by Countercurrents.com and expounded upon his theories about the show. Nearly every single element of the show is an analogy for a piece of the traditional or classical West, and the universe of the show functions according to a sort of friendship-based European ethnocentrism. If you watch a random episode of the show, you are guaranteed to find at least one level of implicit whiteness in traditional Occidental civilization. The show's characters and the conflicts they go through reflects the ideal of personal destiny as manifesting unique and indispensable racial biology.
By the way, I'm not trying to make light of racism, the Holocaust, or eugenics. Like I'm mixed race myself, and I've even got some like my brother did the DNA test, and we both got the same parents. I've even got some Jewish in me as well. I think like something near 10%, and about 20% Caribbean. African, because there was obviously like Africans were exported to Jamaica, yeah, so I've got all sorts of blood in me, man. Like, it's interesting.
The context of a wider, traditional, ethnocentric European society with its own racial folk religion, celebrations, political conflicts, and phobias. He's using too many syllables for me to be able to understand, considering I'm barely...
Oh yeah, so I'm flipping. I need to go to bed. What was I gonna say? Yeah, like I don't take light of the Holocaust, eugenics, or racism. It's just like my way of dealing with sensitive topics like that is sometimes humor, which isn't always the best answer. But like I don't know how else to react. Like Tom was saying, like just now, like he didn't even know what to say about like the eugenics thing, because like what can you say? Like it's just like it's flipping mental, man.
So I won't read any more of his PhD dissertation on why Adolf would have been a brony. To top it off, in this interview he calls himself a flaming homo, and he says he goes to gay bars. I wonder if he told the men he was flirting with about his MLP headcanon, where Rainbow Dash was a high-ranking member of the SS. Believe it or not, this guy wasn't as much of an exception to the rule as you'd think. Several articles have been written by publications like The Atlantic, Rolling Stone, and the New York Post about the Nazi problem in the brony community. What with the abundance of racist fan art floating around, especially during the BLM protests. A particularly wild incident related to this was a mass shooting of all things.
No.
In 2021, a 19-year-old shot up a FedEx building in Indianapolis, killing 8 people before taking his own life. A Rolling Stone article about the tragedy wrote, according to the Wall Street Journal, which cited internal memos circulated by Facebook in the wake of the attack, the gunman primarily used his Facebook accounts to discuss his love for My Little Pony Friendship is Magic, a children's cartoon featuring magical ponies. Male fans
How are you gonna like be into such a like childish, like quote unquote innocent thing, but just not in an innocent way, and then go and commit a crime like that? What is wrong with the world, guys? Like, people need Jesus, bro, for real.
The show are often referred to as bronies. Though the memo was quick to state that there was no indication that brony culture played a role in the attack, the gunman posted about his love of a tawny pony named Applejack, one of the main characters of the franchise, less than an hour before the rampage. I hope that I can be with Applejack in the afterlife. My life has no meaning without her, he wrote. If there's no afterlife and she isn't real, then my life never mattered anyway. The gunman
Wow.
also reportedly had a history of posting far-right content, such as a meme suggesting Jesus had been reincarnated as Hitler, the memo stated. If you think that's
Whoa.
twisted, the Buffalo shooter looked at Martha Speaks furry hentai on his phone mere minutes before he committed his racially motivated mass murder. I can't tell which is more disgraceful. In fact, the furry community also has a subset of Nazis among them. Rocky Mountain FurCon was canceled in 2017 for this exact reason, because they didn't feel it would be safe to host it with certain prominent attendees espousing those beliefs, despite being the minority. Considering the furry and brony communities have significant overlap because of their similar proclivities, as peculiar as it is, it makes sense that both would have these issues. What is it with people who are very invested in politics being obsessed with horses? Can we get some studies on that anytime soon? Definitely gonna need to direct some taxpayer money towards that kind of research. Meanwhile, someone needs to start notifying stables about these dangerous equine predators.
Yeah. Wanted
The
dead or
Brony
alive.
fandom is one of the strangest out there. My Little Pony is a franchise with an intended demographic of pretty much anyone besides grown men, and yet they've rallied around it for a
I have to be so careful what I say on there. When I say wanted dead or alive, all I mean is that like they should have the police after them. If they, no, see, I'll keep digging myself holes, man. I do this in every episode. I say something and then I backtrack and then I'm like, I didn't mean it like that. Like, because I'm so scared of getting community guideline strikes.
and are still going strong. What started as
So, I don't know how I'm going to say it. Like, when I said wanted dead or alive, I just meant like their face on a poster. Like, you know, like that's all I meant.
just a bit of irony on 4chan, spiraled out of control into one of the biggest fandoms of the early 2010s, in the process accomplishing the unimaginable, getting everyone from teenage boys to middle-aged dads to wait with bated breath to watch a show about horses, rainbows, and the importance of friendship. It'd be so impressive if it weren't so horrifying. As with
I'd watch it on acid. I don't take that anymore. Like, I don't take like hard drugs anymore. Sometimes I smoke weed. But what was I saying? Oh no, that's the weed.
any
Innit?
community, there are always a few bad apples in the bunch. Predators can easily use an interest that appeals to kids like this one to take advantage of them, and there's probably a lot more plain old zoophiles or cloppers that we didn't get into. To give you an idea, ponies from MLP have some of the most Rule 34 drawn out of any fictional characters of all time. What an unfortunate metric to be at the top 1% of. This gives you a little bit of an idea of how actually bad the over-sexualization problem is in the Brony.
That's what I mean. Like, there's bound to be some bestiality like stuff going on. Oh man, these communities, furries and bronies, they're degenerates, man. Like, what the hell is going on?
Community. Hopefully, this is one of those trends that dies off once new source material is no longer being produced, since the show has long since finished airing. Though the MLP fandom is so obsessive, it's not beyond them to come up with their own entries to the universe. Or who knows, maybe Hasbro thinks the 2020s aren't abominable enough as is, and they decide to launch a new generation of My Little Pony products to appeal to disillusioned young men.
Yeah, please don't do that.
I've been Turkey Tom. Thanks for watching, and until next time, leave me alone.
That was awesome, Tom, as always, mate. Thanks for the video. I hope you enjoyed the reaction if you see it. Right, guys, you've been locked into Nuclear Reaction Faction. Check out my other content, subscribe for more, and I'll catch you in the next one.